Countrywide Connect with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lamp.
I think we've got our next guest on the line, Nicole McKee, Associate Minister of Justice. Nicole, are you there? Are you a Dolly fan as well? Are you as equally sad as I am?
I'm really sad. I heard that news this morning that she'd passed away, and I had all these songs flashing in my head, Jolene being one of them, and Coat of Many Colours another. I'm incredibly sad at her passing. What an icon.
Yeah, I actually said just before we played that I don't get generally too upset when celebrities and singers pass, but I've always said when Dolly passes, I will be genuinely upset, and I am genuinely upset today. I loved her. I absolutely loved her. So, yeah, I'd play her all day, actually. More than happy. No, look, let's get serious, Nicole, and thank you so much for your time. I know you're very, very busy. Yesterday, you announced the Firearms Licensing Review Committee. Very pleased to see this. Why was it important to have this review committee, and what were you looking for in the people you've got on that committee?
Oh, thanks. Look, I think it is really important that we established a Firearm Licensing Review Committee, because what we currently have in place under the Arms Act 1983 is New Zealand Police doing absolutely everything in the firearms field. So when it comes to licensing decisions, as an example, they will make the decisions on whether or not a person gets a license, retains a license, has conditions placed upon them, and suspended or revoked. And if a person wants to appeal that decision, they actually appeal it directly to the same people who have revoked it potentially in the first place before they then head off to court. And what's been found is once they do go to the district court, that over a third of those decisions have been overturned. We wanted to have an absolutely independent panel, I guess, and we'll be having panels of 3 that will be looking at certain things in licensing. So part of that is whether or not an application has been declined, any conditions that may have been imposed on a person's license, and also whether or not a revocation is justified. So allowing this process by people that are purely independent from the original decision that the regulator makes, I think is quite important for transparency. And it allows that person to actually be heard by those that are firearm owners or have been firearm owners, understand the system and understand the new act as well before heading off to the district court, which, putting my Minister of Courts hat on, will actually free up time in the courts as well.
Okay, so just to be clear, Nicole, then this will come in if someone has had their firearms license revoked or didn't manage to obtain one when they applied. Is that the process?
That's correct. So it's only for these 3 areas where the licensing committee will be able to be utilised, and effectively they are the 3 main areas where people have complaints, where their application has been declined, where they have been revoked, or where conditions have been imposed upon them.
Okay. So what were you looking for then in the people who you have put onto this committee? Because I see they're quite varied. I've got quite different skill sets.
Well, we needed to ensure that we have someone with legal knowledge. So we've appointed 8 people headed by a judge. His name's Robert Spear. He will stand down from his judicial appointment in October 2026 and will be fully on board with this role before then, of course. So they need to have some legal understanding. We were looking for a lawyer. Judge is just as good as well. They all need to have an understanding around firearms, either use them or are still using them. We have, therefore, people who have been involved in sports, in licensing, those that are hunters as well. So every single member of the panel has had some experience, an extensive experience with firearms as well, including Mike Keefe, who used to be a firearms arms officer up in the Bay of Plenty for many, many years, helped establish the Whakatūpato program. We have Joe Green, who used to actually run the firearms program for New Zealand Police until around about 2010, maybe around about that time. We have Tracy Wakeford, who's coming on board. She did firearms licensing as well. So these are all people with the great skill sets. And when they do sit, They'll be sitting, as I mentioned earlier, in panels of 3, even though there's 8 of them, so that we can hear multiple people, and they will be bringing in that expertise to the, to the conflicts that they might hear from those licensed owners.
Nicole, we're just about out of time, but I just want to ask you one question, because I've had this put to me by licensed firearm owners, and I think this is quite a big concern, that they are reluctant to reach out for mental health issues or help because of fear of losing their license. Will this system, or will the new regime alleviate some of those concerns or help those concerns? Because that's patently unfair.
Yes, it is. And we don't want people being fearful of trying to get help for mental health problems. So one of the changes that we've made in the Arms Act 2026, which will come into effect on the 23rd of September, so next month, is the ability for a person to be suspended for up to 12 months for those mental health issues. At the moment, they just get a revocation. Don't come Monday. We can't have that. We don't need that. What we need is people getting help. And so that 12-month suspension will be available to them. And there's the ability to extend it a further 12 months if getting that mental health help becomes an issue. It's not like we have a whole lot of psychologists around the country that can help immediately.
All right, Nicole McKee, really appreciate your time on the show. Thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing how this works, and good work on this one, by the way.
Thank you, Andy. Always great to be with you.
I always love to have you on the show as well. Nicole McKee, the Associate Minister of Justice, a new independent firearms licensing review committee.
Countrywide Connect with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lapp.